Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It is July 22nd. This will be our chart lesson for today, and just a range day today. We did break out here after 3 o'clock late in the afternoon. Um, we won't take any trades that late in the day for obvious reasons, but for the most part, we spent the whole trading day inside this trading range, the blue area here, and we spent a good deal of it bouncing around in the middle till we had this failed breakout down here, and then we pretty much rallied out of there. I would assume that before it's over, maybe we'll get a measured leg up. So that gives us a target up here, 43.77 or so, something like that. I don't know if it tells me. Nope. But anyway, that's what I would probably look for. Not a lot of trades today. There's a few green ones in here as well. Um, Really, your best opportunity to trade ranges is to buy the lows and sell the highs, and you don't get many setups, unfortunately. So you had to kind of trade these short-term trends in there, and the later they get in the trend or the closer they get to the other side, then the more dangerous it becomes trading them. So let's back out here. We'll go through these trades. Won't take long, and we'll wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Friday, so this is going to wrap up our week as well. I'm just doing on Monday through Friday, or I'm sorry, Monday through Thursday these days. I'm using Friday to kind of get a break and take a day off. So somebody did ask me if I was taking the whole day off, but no, I still come in and trade in the morning and do a few odds and ends. But I don't spend a lot of time, if I don't hit my target or something by noon, which most times I can be done well before noon. But if I don't, I'm not going to probably keep trading. I'll probably quit early. But it doesn't really change my day other than I get out of here a little earlier and I don't do the chart lesson. It gives me a break and a chance to take a little break. So, but yeah, I do still trade on Fridays to some degree. So sometimes I'll take that whole day off if I had a good week, but most of the time I will take a trade or two on Friday morning. So anyway, let's talk about the trades. 7 o'clock came just as this bar closed. We were in a real tight range there. Made this little failed breakout, shot through, tried to go higher once, then tried to go higher twice. So if prices break lower there, they're probably headed down to test this low, and who knows, maybe we'll go even further. And that's exactly what happens. That's a quick, easy move. No big runners or anything. I probably would have looked to exit any runners right down here near these lows because you're almost for sure going to bounce. And sure enough, it bounces back. Would have got your break even stop, and then it goes on. If you want to if you want to try to get runners, which I wouldn't in a range like this, I'd probably just scalp out in full, or either I would look to scalp out my runners down here, which would have given you a couple of more points there, no doubt about it. Actually, let's just look at it so you can kind of get an idea. I mean, if you just go to these lows down here, I mean, there's 3.5 points. So you could easily get 2.5 to 3 points on a runner right there. And that adds up. So if you're scalping uh, 3 contracts, well, that's like and so that one runner gives you 3 points. So that's like getting one scalp on 3 contracts. So, and if you do that a few times here and there, it starts to add up. And occasionally you're going to get that big runner where you might get it to run all the way down here. And so runners really do change your math. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't try to do runners on 2 contracts because what's probably going to happen to you is you're going to win 2 or 3 and you won't get any runners, so you're only getting 1 point, and then you're going to have a loser somewhere there, and then you're going to lose 2 points. And it really makes it hard on your math when you're doing that. So my opinion is you're better off to wait and try to do runners when you can trade 3 or more contracts. 5 would be ideal, scalping out 4 and using 1 for a runner. But it's going to take most people a while to get to 5. That may seem, a lot of people question that and say, why? I get that question all the time. If if you're so good at it, why don't you trade 100 contracts? Well, when you add leverage, the more money you got on the line and the more a trade goes against you per tick, then this, the harder it is to trade, the more the mental aspect of it will affect you and you'll make mistakes and stuff. So don't kid yourself. It takes a while to build up uh, leverage. And it'll take you much longer than you think. Just like it'll take you longer to learn to trade than you think, it'll take you longer to build up leverage than you think it will. So just keep that in mind. Don't try to rush it, because I've seen people have a lot of success and then suddenly they jump up to 5 or 10 contracts and they start losing, and they, what happened? I was doing so well. Now I gave all my money back in just a couple of days, because when you lose with 5 contracts or 10 contracts, when you're watching it go against you 2 points, that's a lot of money. And so if you hadn't been trading at that level, you're going to give back a lot of your wins. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, you got the reversal there. Probably don't get a runner. It tries to come back one more time here, and you might have looked at that as a clear reversal. So there's a possibility that you overlook, because that does look all like one leg and then a correction, then another leg and a correction. So you might have entered there. I didn't mark it. I didn't really see it that way in real time because I was looking at the reversal here. But looking at it after the fact, if you didn't enter here, you might have looked at this as a failed second entry long right here. And it's probably going to play out like a failed second entry long. I will say this, it's real close to the lows though, so that's another issue. So you may have to let this one break lower and drop a limit order in here to give you enough room and then enter. And if you did, you might have got out of that trade with a runner. I don't know. I'd probably skip that trade, to be honest with you. But looking at it after the fact, if I wasn't in this trade here, I might like this trade better. So, but we run down, we finally get a break. You actually get 2 legs up. You actually get a second entry right here. But that's the first break of this little trend channel, and then it runs to a new high and it turns down. And somebody asked me this morning, I think on my mid-morning chart, I didn't have that channel there, and then I didn't draw one down here either. I generally don't draw the retest one. So like here's your one down. Generally I will draw this one, and then I probably won't draw this one because it's the retest, and once we make a low, we're looking for it to bounce again, and that's what it did. And so then I draw this one up, and you get your break, and then I won't draw the next one up. You actually don't get a close outside till here, a new high. I mean, this is almost a perfect repeat of this right here. So if you saw this one, by all means take this one. I don't know that I would wait to enter way down here. I think it'd probably be okay. But when this breaks higher and turns down, I'd probably go short right there just so I got plenty of room back to that EMA. And then you actually get a lower high here. And you could have looked at that as a failure, but that only looks like one leg down. And so I wouldn't treat the failure till here. And I think we're too low then. So you might have traded this one as a lower high again if it broke higher and turned down. I don't remember exactly. You could have entered on the engulfing bar with a sell stop there, but I think you're better off just to skip that. I'll mark it with a green. And of course your reversals here, and you wouldn't have had room for it to back up enough, I don't think, before you could get out before those lows. Even if you could, you're getting too close to reversal time here. Notice where it bounced last time and then made a higher low. It could bounce right there, turn down, trap you, or turn back up and trap you, and it's just not worth it. You want to have plenty of room like up here to down here. And again, this is like this move up is a perfect repeat pattern of this move up almost. So we run down, you get a close outside, new low, and we bounce. You'd look for a higher low here. You get one, but it's just going sideways. It's too congestive, and you see it breaks out and fails quickly and comes back. And you do get a second entry long that bounces right off the support. But that bar is not going to cut it. If you had a good signal bar there, I wouldn't have a problem going long right there. But it's not on my chart. So then we find the resistance at the midline. You got to be real careful entering into the middle of it. Sometimes you'll get a setup that you might want to risk, and somebody will probably say, well, that one's right in the middle, but it doesn't look like a range at that point. This is a pretty strong trend down outside of this range, and this looks like a pullback to retest those breakout areas. So it wasn't until we've bounced here a few times and then you see the midline holding across here that you start to think, yeah, this is a range. So But anyway, we bounce here. You get these two repeat patterns, turns down. And so that's not a good enough signal bar. You run up and you don't want to enter in this. You do get this first entry, second entry, but there's not much room back to the midline. We've already had a close outside, but we don't have a new high yet. So you might expect prices to try one more time, but I like this one because it's off that trend line. It does confirm that trend line. It does look like a little two-legged swing. It's a second entry. The only thing is, I'd say it's not a perfect signal bar, but it's fairly bullish. So you might let it break higher, drop a limit order in here, which you could have gotten filled way back in this bar, and just see if you get enough room to get out, which you would have had plenty. It wouldn't have mattered because it went on anyway, but you can't take that chance because it won't always go on like that, and it will back up. So we run up, and you would expect us to be going to the highs up here to retest those highs, but prices can't do it. And you try to go higher once, twice, three times right there. So you get a triple test. I don't have my line on there. There's a triple test right across there. Big bearish bar. It's close to the EMA, but on range days it doesn't matter as much with the EMA, and there's plenty of room back to the midline because you can see prices will flip back and forth through that EMA over and over. It's still something to keep in the back of your head, but it's not as critical. So what you might do is let it break lower and then drop a limit order back here to give you enough room, and you could have gotten filled pretty far back up in this bar, and then you would have got out before it actually takes off there. And we actually get a new high right there. So you get a first entry here and a second entry here right off the midline. Notice how we push through the midline and the EMA pull back, test it, and get this big bearish bar. If it broke higher first and turned out and went out the other side, you could go short right there, one tick below that. But that's bearish enough, I wouldn't have a problem just going short right there. It takes it a second, but it drops on down. And we actually get another opportunity here. And you actually, again, might have looked at that as a new high and a first entry and a second entry that fails. And it does break higher and turn down here. So you might have entered right there, assuming that, hey, we're probably going to test the lows. I didn't mark it, but you could at least argue for that one to be green. And if you draw your trend line up through there, you get your close outside, move to a new high, all in one bar there. Then we move down first entry, second entry, but and you would expect a breakout here to fail, but I'd wait on a higher low, because assuming you'd use that bar, so that doesn't qualify the signal bar, but let's just say it did and you go long there. Maybe you get out of there, maybe you don't. It comes down and stops you out and then goes higher. So this turns out to be an inside bar. It does make that double bar matching low, but because it's an inside bar, I'd probably wait on a higher low, and that doesn't come till way up here. So, and that's a little far to consider that a higher low, but clearly you can see there's a leg up, correction, second leg up. It looks just like a failed second entry. We've got the shorts trapped down here. They're going to try to run the stops up here on the other side now, because that's where most of them are going to go. And so I like going long right there. It's not a perfect reversal. Well, it is almost, but if it would have just ticked one tick lower right there, you could call that a perfect reversal, but it doesn't. So, but I still like that trade. And notice how it shoots on up, and you really just don't get another opportunity to enter this. You do finally get a second entry right here, but by that it's just congestion. You can't go long right there. Even though it would have worked, you can't do it. You finally break out and you fail. You come back, you get a lower high right here. That's tempting to go short. And again, I didn't mark it because it looks a little congestive, but you can clearly see the leg, and you would expect a second leg there. And if you'd have taken that trade, you'd have had to ride these bars out, but you would have gotten out of that trade. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not crazy about it. The key is, do you have enough room if you go short one tick below that to here? Otherwise, you got to use a limit order, and it ends up working no matter what, but you can't take that chance. And if you notice, there's clearly two legs down on this failed breakout, and then you get this bullish bar, and you got plenty of room back to the highs. I like going long right there. That's the better setup. And unfortunately, you don't get a runner because it pulls back again, but it's just the way it is. You're going long right into strong resistance. Sure, you got enough room, but you don't have enough room to probably ride out a runner or get a runner or anything. And notice where we're going to. I showed you that measured leg earlier. We might end up getting it before it's over. There and there. I mean, I've seen it plenty of times. You'd think we'd never make that measured leg. But of course, we don't have but 5 minutes left, so I don't think we're going to make it. But there it is, just in case. Just to show you how this stuff works. I didn't think we'd even get close to it, but we're getting pretty. And I guess in 5 minutes we could run up there. We'll see. But I like that long, and that. Then we were just right back into this little range, channel, congestion, whatever you want to call it. And if you do your measured moves, you can see the measured move is down here and up here. And this is probably slightly bigger there and slightly lower there. So I mean they're basically almost perfect measured moves. And that's another reason I like going long there, because you got your measured move down. But I don't see any reason to enter here. That's not good enough for a long. That one's not. You're too close to the highs there, even though it takes on off. And that does look like a failure. So there's a little bit of a trap there. But I still wouldn't risk that late in the day going long right into that overnight, all day long range resistance. So there's not anything here, any kind of clue that says, hey, this is going to break out and take off like that, other than the fact that you might get a measured leg, and I'm not betting on that right there, because this has been a range day, not a trend day. So that's what I saw today. Not a lot of trades. There's a couple of decent ones here. Just, we're still in the summer. We're still in July. As we get into August and school starts back, things will pick up, I'm pretty sure. And you never know. We may have a crazy day out of the blue regardless. But I hope you had a good trading day. I hope it's been a good week for you. We'll be back again to do it Monday, but I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next